Tansei, welcome to Métis Minute, your source for Métis news in Region 7. Welcome back to Métis Minute. I'm your host, Samantha Loney. As you may have seen on previous episodes, we here at Métis Minute are appreciators of art. Art has a lot of power within the Native community. It was used to communicate with one another, to share thoughts and ideas. And that is exactly what Angela Agila's mural at the Tiffin Boat Launch is hoping to do. The mural was sponsored by the Rotary Club of Barrie, and we had the privilege of attending the mural reveal for this amazing mosaic piece of art. While we were there, we were able to hear from Barrie's public art coordinator, along with the artists themselves, and even the mayor.
Thank you for joining us at this public art unveiling. I'm thrilled to see so many people here on a Monday morning. My name is Carol Ann Ryan. I am the public art coordinator for the city of Barrie. And I'm really excited to share this new work of art that we have on display in public space. And before we begin, I'd like to say our land acknowledgement. The city of Barrie acknowledges the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people, which include the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. We also acknowledge the Wendat Nation, the Huron, who occupied these lands prior to the middle of the 17th century. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and recognize the enduring presence of Indigenous peoples on this land. We are committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. And to begin, I'd just like to share a few words about our public art program here in Barrie. It is an active and developing program, and with this new work of art, we're adding a new medium, so that means a new material to the type of art we have on display in public space. And as our program grows, we find that we have made great gains when we partner or collaborate with community groups outside of the city and also with other departments within the city. And this piece we're sharing with you today is the result of a partnership with the Barrie Rotary Club. This was inspired by a committee of the club, and they came forward to Barrie Public Art with an ask to create a mosaic in public space, specifically in this pavilion here, which formerly was part of the Trans-Canada Trail program. This program was decommissioned around 2022, and as a result of that, there was maps and signage in here previously. Those were taken down by the national program. And the Rotary really wanted to see this pavilion put to good use. And so with the proposal of this mosaic and a $10,000 contribution, Barrie Public Art and our parks planning team at the city of Barrie worked with the Rotary to commission some regionally based artists and see the project through. I'd like to introduce you to Mother Nature by Angela Agila and Meg Leslie. Angela Agila drew the illustration, and Leslie created the hand-formed and hand-glazed porcelain tiles that you see before you. The design was inspired by our very own Kempenfelt Bay and its role as a habitat for wildlife and plants. Themes of ecology, conservation, and stewardship of our natural environment emerge from the image, integrating human, animal, and plant species. I'd like to note that in addition to this new work of art in our public spaces, this pavilion will now be the site of community-engaged performances by artists working with the Emerging Artist Program hosted by the Canadian Musicians Cooperative. So come by in come by soon to see some local buskers and musicians having this lovely backdrop behind them while they perform. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mayor Nuttall for a few remarks.
Thank you so much, Caroline, and thank you so much to Angela and to Meg. This is a beautiful, beautiful piece for our waterfront. To the Barrie Rotary Club, you're involved in everything in the community, and this fits right in. Seeing this pavilion brought, to a current state that I think is going to have a lot of use going forward, whether it's visual art or performing art, as Caroline just outlined. But I also want to really highlight and I guess reflect that this is a reflection of what you see around you, in the sense that the wildlife, the loon, all of the different pieces. It is beautiful. It's my first time seeing this, so it's a beautiful piece, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, but also from the rest of the city of Barrie. And just one other piece to note, I think that there's a real synchronization with as well is just across the street here, we're also over time going to be having a dedicated Indigenous space, and I think that will really flow into what we're seeing here in terms of performing or visual arts, and just incredibly excited. Thank you so much, and we're very proud of you as local talent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Nuttall. And now I'd like to invite Brian Galbraith, President of the Barrie Rotary Club, to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Caroline. It's so wonderful to be here and see so many people here to celebrate this wonderful contribution to Barrie. The Rotary Club of Barrie is a service club, so what we do is we raise hundreds of thousands of dollars to give back to charity. And this lakeshore is so important to us. I wrote down some of the other projects we've had. The Heritage Park pavilions and benches, the Kids Creek restoration, the Festival of Trees, the Rotary Clock, the Rotary Fountain, the Rotary Islands that you see out here were created by our club, the South Shore Center itself, the Military Heritage Park around the corner, and trees. We've planted hundreds of trees along this lakeshore because we believe that this lakeshore is the gem of Barrie, and we need to support it and provide funding to make sure that it continues to thrive. And this is just yet another great example of helping Barrie get better and celebrating all the achievements of our local artists. So it's so wonderful to partner with the city and to be able to provide this to the community, and so glad you came out to celebrate it. So to Meg and Angela, thank you so much. It's just a wonderful contribution to the city of Barrie. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And now I'd like to introduce Angela Ojla and Meg Leslie. But first I want to give you some brief biographical notes so you can understand what an excellent choice the Rotary made when they commissioned them to work on this project. Angela Ojla is a local visual artist whose vibrant artwork explores the interplay of history, memory, culture, and community. She is fascinated by the ways that natural and material objects transmit culture and come to carry meaning, memory, and nostalgia. Angela's work spans multiple mediums, including illustration, collage, embellished photography, textile, LED illuminated art, and mixed media installations. Alongside her practice as a professional visual artist, Ojla serves on the McLaren Art Center's Board of Directors, and she is a liberal arts professor at Georgian College, where she teaches various courses, including visual culture and anthropology. Meg Leslie grew up in Orillia and attended Georgian College in Barrie, where she graduated from interior design. Meg lived in Kitchener-Waterloo for 22 years and created a number of large-scale public art mosaic walls using a method called piqué assiette, which means broken plates. Meg taught hundreds of people how to make tiles from broken mugs and bowls and plates that went into large public art walls. Meg eventually bought a kiln and started making her own porcelain tiles. Meg moved back to Aurelia 5 years ago and started Atherley Arts, a business that makes handmade porcelain tiles for backsplashes, bathrooms, and fireplaces. Meg is grateful to the Rotary Club for this commission, and it is her largest porcelain tile project to date. So I'd like to invite Angela and Meg to please come forward for a few remarks.
Thank you. I promise I'm not scrolling Instagram. I'm just reading off my phone. But thank you everybody for being here this morning, and thank you, Caroline, for your introduction. It was my honor to be part of this collaborative public artwork. I think the medium of this work, mosaic, metaphorically reflects the aspirational idea of being stronger together as a community. And as multiple pieces unite to form something larger and more unified, it's a metaphor for our community itself. Despite our differences, activities like the arts provide common ground for collective engagement and civic pride. I appreciate the recognition of this by both the City of Barrie and the Rotary Club. I was immediately intrigued when Meg first asked me if I could write this proposal with her for the project. She described how she loved the whimsy, joyfulness, and vibrant colors in my illustrations, and that she hoped to create a mosaic based on my artwork. I had been admiring her skillfully made handcrafted tiles and mosaics that she had been making for residential interiors, and I thought it was an exciting idea to merge our unique skill set together. Though my role was in the design and illustration, I did have a glimpse into Meg's process when I visited her studio to try my hand at a few tiles. At first, I was absolutely honored when I walked into her home and was met with my artwork hanging in her foyer. And then I was absolutely fascinated as I walked through her studio, learning about her incredible process to translate this piece of paper, a paper illustration, all the way to what you see here. She had printed my drawing to scale and then traced it through clear plastic onto the clay to preserve the exact detail of the original drawing. A multi-step process that definitely requires a high level of skill, experience, and patience. In creating this image, I sought to pull together strands from our local ecosystems, embedding flora and fauna that hold special meaning for people in the community. I've been visiting this park recreationally for over 20 years with my children, my family, and my friends. Many walks during COVID. And so it was a site that held meaning for me as well. So I wanted to incorporate some of the most iconic, symbolic, and loved animals of the region. Through this composition, with the human figure intentionally enmeshed in nature, I sought to reject harmful colonial notions that position humans as masters of our environment, understanding instead that we are held and immersed within it. I hope this mosaic fosters a sense of respect for biodiversity and the land. Rather than a realistic depiction, I hope to cultivate sort of an air of magic and blur the lines between what is real and imaginary. I hope people find themselves lifted to a sort of dreamlike place while viewing this work, and that they extend that dreaming to reimagine the potential of their lives and communities. So I'm very grateful for all of your support. Please feel free to come chat with me later with any questions you may have. Thank you all for being here.
What did you do as a child that made the hours pass like minutes? Herein lies the key to your earthly pursuits. Carl Jung. I thought we could add some masculine to the feminine. As a child, I grew up in Aurelia, just up from Couchiching Park, and I attended Georgian College in Barrie for interior design, and I graduated from a 3-year program here, so it's kind of neat to come back for this. I also work in Barrie at the Barrie Montessori School now, and teach art there as well. After college, I lived in Vancouver. One of my girlfriends from college is here visiting. Two of my girlfriends from college are here visiting to enjoy this process with me. But after Vancouver and Toronto, I moved to Kitchener-Waterloo, and I found this man there. His name is Isaiah Zagar. So if you have a chance to Google this man, he was my inspiration and kind of led me to this process. He did pique assiette, so broken plates. People would drop off plates and mugs and teapots and things at his studio, and he would just create amazing, huge mosaics covering like walls in South Philadelphia. So I took a workshop from him. I took my two boys, my son is here today, which is neat, and we went to Philadelphia, and I learned how to tile over a weekend, and I was pretty much hooked. Basically, in Kitchener-Waterloo, I started tiling large community mosaics where people brought their broken things, and I taught them how to tile their hand, or I taught them how to tile their house. But I found myself getting really homesick. And the last year that I was there, people saw that I was posting hashtag perpetually homesick. And so I knew that I was probably going to be moving back home. So I was in Kitchener-Waterloo for 22 years, but I missed all the lakes. Like, I missed this lake, and now I live in Atherley, so I'm just at the top of this lake. And I opened my business in 2020, making handmade porcelain mosaic tiles, which is sort of a mouthful, but it describes all of the things that they are. And basically, I like to incorporate all of these natural things, animals and flora and fauna. I also took a naturalist course through Lakehead a couple of years ago, and it's called the Master Naturalist course. And I am not a master naturalist. I basically just took 3 months of an online course and through Lakehead, and I learned more about plants and animals that are local to us, and how important it is to look after what we have here. I was approached by Jason MacArthur of the Rotary Club. What a sweet man, and so sad that he's not here today, because he definitely was one of the inspirations that brought this into fruition. Like they said, it is the largest handmade tile mosaic. I have done others that are with broken plates and things, like one that's 72 feet long, but not handmade tiles like this. So it was a big undertaking. And when I took that, I got the image that Angela drew, and I took it to Tiffin's print house in Aurelia, and I had to get it printed 10% larger. So I rolled it out on my floor, and it was huge, and I had a slight panic attack because I thought, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? But slowly it all kind of came together, just bit by bit. And so, like I said, I work 4 days a week at Barrie Montessori School, and one of the things that I love to do, and I've always loved to do with mosaics, is if you've got something large, incorporate as many people as you can to help you. And so you'll notice the hair is made up of minnows, and those minnows are from all of the children that are at Barrie Montessori School. Plus, we had a workshop and one weekend, and we invited family and friends, and basically they made minnows. And so the rule, I told the kids, the rule is this: if you're 0 to 6, your minnow is this big. If you're 7 to 18, your minnow is this big. If you're 18 plus, your minnow is a little bit larger. So the sizes are based on how old the person was. And the kids thought that the 0 to 6, 0, they're like 0, but there is one on there that says daddy. So I think that was maybe somebody who couldn't make it themselves. Their dad made it for them. So they put their names in it. So it just made this a really beautiful community art project as well. So I just wanted to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody who's here, my family, my friends, everybody here to support us today, but also to thank Rob, Kathy, and Rick, who came to volunteer to grout the day that we grouted this in the rain. And Angela and I installed it 2 days before in the rain as well. Like, rain was rushing through here. We were soaked, and it didn't matter. We were getting it done. And I want to thank my parents and my son for coming today, and also to Don Allen, to my boss, and I see you there in the cute hat. And I want to thank you for your support. It means a lot. Just to be able to incorporate the school was really lovely. I also want to thank the City of Barrie wholeheartedly, because I love how you support the arts. I want to thank the mayor for coming, and especially the Rotary Club for commissioning this and making this possible. Anyway, I think that was more than 5 minutes, but thank you. Thank you, Meg. Thank you, Angela. I want to note that there will be signage beside the mosaic in the coming weeks, and it will commemorate this commission, acknowledging the partnership with Rotary, and of course crediting Angela and Meg for their work. And before I go, I just want to mention that we have some big things in the works at Barrie Public Art. Particularly, I just want to promote, perhaps shamelessly, a project we have coming up this fall, a very exciting, large-scale exhibition called Seeds to Sow, where we will be featuring artists both with national and regional reputations in the public art realm. From September 27th to November 8th, we'll have a unique opportunity to see art in public space in a variety of media along our waterfront and in our downtown like we haven't seen in this city in years. So look for all of the promotion. There will be lots of programming for everyone. It's free. Please join us and celebrate the arts and culture, broadly speaking. And without that, I don't have any more notes. Thank you very much to everyone for joining us today.
After the unveiling, I wanted to talk to Angela herself to speak more on something that stood out to me during her speech. As you may have heard during Angela's speech, she said a big inspiration about this specific mural on the waterfront was on how we can teach people to decolonize the way they view nature.
Yeah, I mean, I think so many of our artworks are very human-centric, right? Like, and not that there's anything wrong with that. And I mean, I guess you could read this one the same way. But one of the things that I attempt to do, just from like my own belief system, and like I grew up in BC, there's a lot of natural, you know, and but also like my love for like the art that I really enjoy, and what I've like, you sort of absorb the art around you. And you know, if I think about Indigenous artists like Bill Reid in British, from, you know, on the West Coast, or if I think of like even just like Norval Morrisseau or many people that came after him, and the art that is like where everything is embedded together. It's not isolated and separated and categorized in that colonial way. Like, this is nature art, this is portrait art, this is animal art. I think, you know, like I've tried to learn as much as I could, and I'm absolutely still learning from Indigenous teachings on how to look differently at the land and its inhabitants and our role on the land. And that doesn't just mean as like my daily life, but my life as a settler colonial person as well, which is a complex relationship because coming from a place, like my background is Indian, so a place that was also colonized. So a previously colonized person as a settler colonial person on a different, you know, settler colony. Like, what does that mean? So it's I feel a constant process of kind of unlearning and learning, and I feel like this community has a lot of support for that. So I'm hoping that comes through, that respect comes through in the artwork, and people will bring different things to their viewing of it depending on their, you know, where they are coming from in their lives.
We know our video does not do this mural justice, so we hope you're able to go down to the Tiffin Boat Launch yourself and capture this beautiful mosaic. Merci for watching. We'll see you down the river.